NIUS welcomes you all in this live video for subject Political Science for Senior Secondary. Code is 317, module number 3, chapter number 15, High Courts and Subordinate Courts. This is part 1. First, we will discuss about difficult words and concept. After that, we will discuss topics. As you can see in the slide, single, integrated and unified judicial system. The Supreme Court stands as the apex court of the judicial system. Below the Supreme Court are the higher courts. The high courts control the supersede the lower courts. For example, you can see in the slide, courts in India, Supreme Court, after that high courts, state-wise, and then subordinate courts, lower courts, for example, district, municipal party courts and village level. In the picture you can see civil cases. In India, for example, in first picture, who is a trial between? It can be a divorce case or accidental cases or dispute cases. So in that type of cases, penalty had been given, but there are no punishment. In a civil trial, the individual at fault is usually punished by paying the penalty till a sum as determined by the judge. In this slide, you can see criminal cases. In this, a criminal trial is between an individual or a party versus the government. The criminal trials occur when an individual or party has broken a law of society and they admit guilt or attempt to deny or justify their actions. In a criminal trial, judiciary listens to the evidence and witnesses and uses that information to determine guilt. A judge presides over the case and ensure a fair legal process, but it is up to the judiciary to determine the guilt. Depending on the severity of the time, the guilty party can be forced to pay a fine, serve jail time, serve prohibition, or in some state they can execute. When the district court exercises its jurisdiction in criminal cases under the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, it is refers as Session Court. In the picture you can see Chief Justice, the presiding or principal judge of a court of justice. Advocate, a person who is professionally qualified to plead the cause of another in a court of law. Collegium system of appointment and transfer of judges that has evolved through judgments of the Supreme Court and not by an act of Parliament or by a provision of the Constitution. Collegium of the Supreme Court consists of 5 senior most judges. Incapacity to act as a judge. It means persistent failure to perform the judicial duties of the judge or willful abuse of office. Original jurisdiction, power of a court to hear a case for the first time, opposed to the appellated jurisdiction. Appellated jurisdiction, ability of higher court to hear appeals from a lower courts. Derogatory, it means insulting or disrespectful. Fundamental rights. In this Constitution give us few fundamental rights. For example, right of equality, right of education, right to freedom, freedom of religion, etc. Constitutional remedies support the protection of fundamental rights and ensure that people whose fundamental rights have been violated can seek relief directly from the Supreme Court or the different high courts of India. Writs. Legal document issued by the court that orders a person or entity to perform a specific act or to cease performing a specific action or deed. You can see the points. Habeas corpus, mandamus. We will explain these points in further slides. For example, habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is a Latin for to have the body. It is used to serve a person who has been detained unlawfully or illegally. Writs of habeas corpus can be issued against both public authorities and private individuals. Writs of mandamus. Mandamus means we command. It is an order from a superior court to inferior court or tribunal or public authority. Note: writs of mandamus cannot be granted against private individuals or organizations. Writs of prohibition. Prohibition means to forbid. It is issued by a higher court to stop the lower court from exceeding its jurisdiction. Writs of prohibition is not available against administrative and legislative bodies, private individuals, or organizations. Writs of certitory. Certitory means to be certified. It is issued by the higher court to some inferior court or tribunal to transfer the matter to it. Writs of certitory is issued on the ground of excess of jurisdiction or lack of jurisdiction, error of law. Writs of quo warranto. Quo warranto means by what authority. It is a writ issued with a view to restraining a person from acting in a public office to which he or she is not entitled. The writ requires the concerned person to explain to the court by what authority she or he holds the office. So far we discussed difficult words. Let's start with topic: high courts and subordinate courts. Objective. First is describe the composition and organization of the High Court. Second, explain the powers and jurisdiction of the High Court. Third, appreciate the role of high courts as protector of fundamental rights and explain the working of the subordinate or lower courts. In India, you all know that there are 28 states and 8 union territories. The state high courts, the total number of the state high courts is 25. Break.
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय शिक्षा संस्थान NIUS शिक्षा मंत्रालय भारत सरकार के अंतर्गत एक स्वायत्त संस्थान है। NIUS माध्यमिक व उच्चतर माध्यमिक स्तर पर समावेशी और लचीली शिक्षा व व्यावसायिक प्रशिक्षण प्रदान करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। भारत सरकार कौशल विकास से आत्मनिर्भरता को बढ़ावा दे रही है। स्कूली स्तर पर आवश्यकता आधारित व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रमों से युवा कुशल होकर निजी व्यवसाय और सेवाओं में जा रहे हैं। NIOS कृषि, पशुपालन, सौंदर्य, इंजीनियरिंग, ICT, योग, आयुर्वेद, प्राकृतिक चिकित्सा, गृह विज्ञान, सिलाई कढ़ाई क्षेत्रों में 100 से भी अधिक व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रम संचालित कर रहा है। NIOS अपने अध्ययन केंद्रों यानी AVI के माध्यम से इन पाठ्यक्रमों का संचालन, प्रायोगिक प्रशिक्षण व व्यक्तिगत संपर्क कार्यक्रम यानी PCP का आयोजन करता है। राष्ट्रीय व्यावसायिक शिक्षा एवं प्रशिक्षण परिषद NCVET एक राष्ट्रीय नियामक है। यह प्रशिक्षण प्रणालियों के विकास, गुणात्मक सुधार और विनियमन के लिए जिम्मेदार संस्था है, जो विभिन्न संस्थाओं व मूल्यांकन एजेंसियों को मान्यता प्रदान करता है। रोजगार क्षमता में सुधार व त्वरित विकास के लिए NIOS ने NCVET के साथ हाल ही में एक समझौता ज्ञापन हस्ताक्षरित किया है। अब NIOS के NCVET स्वीकृत पाठ्यक्रमों को दोहरी मान्यता मिलेगी व शिक्षार्थियों को उन्नत प्रमाणन प्राप्त होगा। इससे शिक्षार्थियों में व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रमों के प्रति लोकप्रियता बढ़ेगी एवं स्वीकार्यता का विकास होगा। कम शुल्क और दोहरी मान्यता वाले इन पाठ्यक्रमों में प्लम्बिंग सेक्टर से जुड़े ड्रिंकिंग वाटर प्यूरिफायर टेक्नीशियन कोर्स के साथ NIOS ने प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रम का संचालन प्रारंभ कर दिया है। भविष्य में अन्य पाठ्यक्रमों को इसी क्रम में विकसित कर NIOS आत्मनिर्भर भारत के निर्माण में अपना योगदान देगा। निश्चित ही इससे शिक्षार्थियों को रोजगार व स्वाभिमान मिलेगा। ऊर्जावान युवाओं, NIOS के व्यावसायिक प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रमों से आज ही जुड़िए। अधिक जानकारी व प्रवेश के लिए लॉग इन करें www.nios.ac.in।
We discussed about Supreme Court. Now let's discuss composition of the High Court. A High Court for each state. For example, Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka. Can be common high courts for two or more states. For example, Punjab, Haryana, and Chandigarh have a common high court situated at Chandigarh. In other examples, Delhi, though not a state, has its own separate high court. Every high court has a chief justice and a number of judges. The number of judges of each high court is determined by the president. Appointed by the president. Appointed by the president. Chief Justice of High Court The President has to consult the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the Governor of the state concerned. Other judges. The President consults the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the High Court, and Governor of the state concerned. The judges can be transferred from one high court to another by the President. Collegium. Actual selection of judges is made by a team of senior judges of the Supreme Court, headed by the Chief Justice of India in accordance with 1993 ruling as reinterpreted in 1999 by the Supreme Court. This is known as Collegium of the Supreme Court. Qualification, tenure, and removal of the judges. Qualifications: he or she should be a citizen of India, he or she should have held a judicial office at the district level or below for at least 10 years. He or she should have been an advocate in one or more high courts for at least 10 years, continuously without break. Tenure: hold office till attain the age of 62. After retirement, appointed as judges of the Supreme Court. Or practice as advocate in the Supreme Court. Practice in any high court other than the high court in which they served as judges. Only on the ground of incapacity of or proved misbehavior. If both the houses of Parliament adopt a resolution by a majority of their total membership and by 2/3 majority of members present and voting separately in each house in the same session, such a resolution is submitted to the President, who then can remove the concerned judge. This procedure is same as for removal of judges of the Supreme Court. Powers and jurisdiction of the High Court. Original jurisdiction very limited. The High Court have the power to issue orders, writs to restore the fundamental rights of the people under the right to constitutional remedies. Can issue writs to any person or authority including government of the state concerned. The writs in the nature of habeas corpus mandamus. Prohibition, covenanto and certiorari. Power to issue writs is increased in the original jurisdiction of the High Courts and is not derogatory to similar powers of the Supreme Court. Can hear election petition challenging the election of a MP or state legislative assembly. Can set aside the election of a member if it finds that he or she used corrupt means in his or her election. All the lower courts function under the superintendence, control and guidance of the High Court in the state. Here appeals against the judgments of the subordinate courts. In civil cases, appellated jurisdiction extend to all such cases which involve an amount exceeding up to 5 lakhs. Any party to a civil dispute which is dissatisfied with the decision of the district court may appeal against the decision of the district court and the High Court. Here, cases relating to patent and design, succession, land acquisition, insolvency and guardianship. Example of civil case: patent, official legal right to make or sell an invention for a particular period of time. Succession, action or process of inheriting a title, office, property, etc. Land acquisition, power of the union or a state government in India to take a private land for public insolvency, Situations where a debtor cannot pay the debts they owe. Guardianship, rights and powers in the respect to a minor's person and property. Break.
भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था में कृषि सबसे महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र है। जनगणना 2011 के अनुसार ये अनुमान है कि 12 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोग किसानों के रूप में और लगभग 11 करोड़ कृषि कार्यों से जुड़े हैं। इसके अलावा ये भी अनुमान लगाया गया है कि कृषि उद्योग लगभग 21.5 लाख लोगों को रोजगार देता है। अतः NIOS कृषि शिक्षा पर केंद्रित पाठ्यक्रमों द्वारा रोजगार उन्मुख व्यावसायिक शिक्षा और प्रशिक्षण की आवश्यकता की पूर्ति करता है। NIOS कृषि और पशुपालन के प्रमुख क्षेत्रों में कुल 9 आवश्यकता आधारित व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रम संचालित करता है। ये व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रम दैनिक जीवन से जुड़े हैं और कृषि क्षेत्र में कार्य करने वाले व्यक्तियों के लिए नई दिशा प्रदान करते हैं। ये पाठ्यक्रम 6 माही, 1 वर्षीय एवं 2 वर्षीय हैं। मशरूम उत्पादन, वर्मी कंपोस्टिंग, मधुमक्खी पालन, धान उत्पादन, कुक्कुट पालन एवं बांस उत्पादन 6 माही पाठ्यक्रम है। फूलों की खेती और परिदृश्य बागवानी एवं डेयरी संचालन नए 6 माही पाठ्यक्रम है। पादप सुरक्षा एवं मृदा एवं उर्वरक प्रबंधन 1 वर्षीय पाठ्यक्रम है और मूलभूत ग्रामीण प्रौद्योगिकी में डिप्लोमा 2 वर्षीय पाठ्यक्रम है। NIOS ने कृषि और पशुपालन में माध्यमिक स्तर पर व्यावसायिक शिक्षा शुरू की है, जिसमें शिक्षार्थी 3 पाठ्यक्रम मधुमक्खी पालन, कुक्कुट पालन और धान की खेती के साथ 2 शैक्षणिक विषयों का संयोजन कर माध्यमिक प्रमाण पत्र अर्जित कर सकते हैं। NIOS पाठ्यक्रमों को करने के उपरांत शिक्षार्थी को विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में रोजगार के नए अवसर मिलते हैं। इन पाठ्यक्रमों को करने के उपरांत शिक्षार्थी कृषि या संबंध उद्योगों में उद्यमी बन सकते हैं, मधुमक्खी पालन फार्म में काम कर सकते हैं या स्वतंत्र रूप से मधुमक्खी पालन का काम कर सकते हैं, पोल्ट्री फार्म संबंधित कार्य कर सकते हैं, मशरूम की खेती का काम कर सकते हैं, जैविक खेती का काम कर सकते हैं और कृमि खाद बनाने का भी काम कर सकते हैं। इसके अलावा वे कृषि और पॉली हाउस व पशुपालन इकाइयों जैसे पोल्ट्री, डेयरी, खेती इत्यादि में पर्यवेक्षक के रूप में भी काम कर सकते हैं। हमारे लक्ष्य समूहों में प्रत्येक ग्रामीण, शहरी युवा, युवतियां, महिलाएं एवं हर आयु वर्ग के लोग हैं, जो कृषि और संबंध सेवाओं में अपना भविष्य बनाने की इच्छा रखते हैं। NIOS के कृषि पाठ्यक्रम के निर्देश का माध्यम हिंदी और अंग्रेजी भाषा है। क्षेत्रीय मांग के अनुसार हम किताबों को क्षेत्रीय भाषा में अनुवाद भी करते हैं। NIOS के व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रमों में प्रवेश साल भर खुला रहता है। प्रवेश पूर्णतः ऑनलाइन है। अधिक जानकारी के लिए आप लॉगिन कर सकते हैं www.voc.nios.ac.in पर। मान्यता प्राप्त करने के लिए संस्थाओं से आवेदन आमंत्रित किए जाते हैं। मान्यता प्रक्रिया, मानदंड और शुल्क आदि की जानकारी के लिए आप स्क्रीन पर लिखे हुए लिंक पर विजिट करें।
Let's continue the topic criminal cases here and decide appeals against decision of the session courts in criminal cases like robbery, murder, etc. An accused who is found guilty by a session court and awarded a sentence may file an appeal against the verdict of the session court. Sometimes even state may appeal against a session court judgment for enhancement of punishment. The High Court may accept the decision of the Session Court or alter it and increase or reduce the sentence or change the nature of sentence or may acquit an accused. However, if an accused is awarded death sentence by the session court, the sentence must be confirmed by the High Court before the person is hanged to death. Even if the accused does not file an appeal against death sentence, the state refers it to the High Court for confirmation. In text questions, we discussed part 1. Let's see the question related to this part. Filling in the blanks. At present, there are dash high courts in India. In India, 25 high courts. The Union Territory of Dash has its own separate High Court. Option is Daman and Diu, Chandigarh or Delhi. The correct answer is Delhi. Question number 3. The judge of the High Court are appointed by the dash. Option is Governor, President, Prime Minister, and the correct answer is President. The retirement age of the judge of a high court is dash years. 60, 62 or 65. The correct answer will be 62 years. Though not a state, dash has high court. The correct answer is Delhi. Which punishment awarded by lower courts cannot be implemented without confirmation by the High Court? The correct answer is death sentence. So far we discussed about the chapter. Thank you for watching.